of that, let's go ahead and get started in an easy seat today. We're just going to sit in a comfortable cross-legged, or maybe cross-legged is not comfortable for you, but any type of sitting posture. So that could even be on your shins, your heels, maybe cross-legged here. We do need 2 blocks. I'm recommending 2 blocks for practice today. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. You could even sit on one of your yoga blocks. And once you get settled into your seat, go ahead and close the eyes. If the closing the eyes doesn't sound comfortable, maybe just finding a soft gaze in front of you. And sometimes the hardest part of our practice is just showing up, making it right here in this moment. And I feel like I've been saying this a lot lately, but I feel with the weight of the world right now and the current political climate and social climate that we're in, I think it's really significant that each of you have shown up to take care of yourselves tonight. I think that's remarkable. So thank you for making time to take care of yourself and to nourish and condition the mind and the body this evening. And in the seated posture, let's just kind of just do a scan. Let's just scan the body, maybe starting from, the initial point of contact that you have with the earth. So maybe that's your feet, your shins. Just noticing, scanning for any tension, maybe any tightness, your knees, your thighs, traveling up to your hips, your belly, your torso, the chest, the back, the neck, the shoulders, traveling down the arms, the biceps and triceps, elbows, the inside of the elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your hands, fingers, the back of the head, the front of the head, the face, the jaw, your mouth, cheeks, your nose, your eyes, your forehead, the crown of the head. And then just travel back down. And if you've identified any source of tension or tightness, see if maybe you can let go a little bit. See if you can give yourself permission to let go. And if that doesn't work, that's okay. Just acknowledging and honoring how the body feels in this moment then. And then once you've finished your scan back down the body, let's just connect with the breath. Observing the natural inhale and exhale, the rise and the falls of bringing in and letting out oxygen into the body. And noticing maybe where that lands in your chest, in your shoulders, in the diaphragm, the belly. Noticing the natural rhythm of the breath. So just maybe noticing if the inhale and the exhale, maybe they're of equal length, or maybe your exhale is a little bit longer. Just noticing how you're breathing. So I have a fired up practice planned for us this evening. And I invite you to use the Ujjayi pranayama, which is our victorious breath. It's also known as the ocean breathing or oceanic breath. So I'm going to have you set that up now. So just finding a slight constriction in the back of the throat. And then with the mouth closed, starting to inhale and exhale through the nose, creating a sort of whisper sound in the back of the throat. So just sounding like the ocean. And then once you have that sound, let's set up a pattern that you can maintain for the duration of class tonight. So that pattern might be a 3-count inhale and a 3-count exhale, or maybe it's a 4-count inhale and a 5-count exhale, but something to maintain for the duration of class. And you're using this pattern to tether the mind to the body so that when the practice gets challenging, we can reconnect with the breath and use that to still and quiet the mind and calm the heart. And in the moments where our practice becomes easy and the mind wants to drift off, we're going to use the breath to reconnect us to the body again, to keep us present and here for our practice. Now, whichever sitting posture you've taken, we're going to go ahead and slowly extend the legs out long in front of us. If you do have your yoga block, you might want to try sitting on the block. This is actually one of my favorite variations of this forward fold that we're going to take tonight. Or if you have a cushion or a folded blanket or something like that, just coming up and sitting onto your prop. And just that kind of height allows us to get a little bit more into the hamstrings and less in the back. But we are going to round the back. We'll get into the back as well today. So once we have your legs out long, avoid any hyperextending in the knees. So we do have to keep the legs a little bit more active and pressing the heels into the earth. Grow tall in the spine. Inhale, reach your hands to the sky. And then with a flat back, keeping the spine long, you're going to hinge forward at the hips and pause at your first line of resistance. So you're pausing, you're at that first line of resistance that you feel in the back of the legs here. And pause. Breathe here. Maybe allow the hands to come down to the earth, or maybe they rest on your thighs, still keeping the spine long. On your next inhale, maybe walk your hands a little bit further, deepening the stretch, getting a little bit deeper into the backs of the legs, keeping the spine long. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and round the spine and allow the forehead to come down toward your legs. So now your forehead doesn't have to touch anything, it's just reaching. If your forehead ends up resting on your knees or your shins or your thighs, that's perfectly fine. It's not the goal here, but we are trying to find a release in the low back and also still finding some sensation in the back of the legs. Stay connected to that pattern of breath that you set up at the beginning here. And maybe send the breath to the parts of the body that you're experiencing the most sensation. So maybe that's the back of the knees, or maybe that's, you can feel that in the belly of the hamstrings. Or maybe it's in your back. Just sending the breath there. On your next exhale, you're going to start to walk the hands back and slowly rise up, coming up, rounding the spine, allowing yourself to come up one vertebrae at a time and your head to come up last. And then you have an option. You can stay on the block. We're going to take butterfly pose, Baddha Konasana. Taking this variation might help you get a little bit deeper into the groin and provide relief out of the low back. Or you can take out your prop and sit on your bum and take butterfly pose, fully seated. So I'm going to invite you to, so we're going to bring soles of the feet together, knees out wide, and I'm going to invite you to draw the heels of the feet in as close to the groin as possible. And then with your hands, you're going to hold on to your ankles. So root down in your sit bones, grow tall in your spine, reach out through the crown of the head. And then without any assistance from your arms or anything like that, you're going to use the strength of your thighs, your legs, to activate the knees down toward the earth. You're going to press the knees down toward the earth. And so you can kind of use that clasp of your hands to your ankles to kind of create some leverage here, some power, some stability, so that you can reach those knees down to the earth. Now the knees aren't, you're not trying to touch, we're just trying to activate, we're just trying to get into the groin here. Breathe. These look good. Let go of that activation and then walk the feet out a little bit further, maybe a couple of feet out in front of the groin area. So you have this kind of wider diamond shape with the legs now. And then keeping the hands on the ankles, growing tall in the spine, take an inhale, and then exhale, we're gonna fold forward and you can let the spine round here. And if you'd like, you can even use with your hands clasping onto your ankles, you can use your elbows to press into your knees, opening up your legs and getting into the inside of the legs here. Release the crown of the head, let the head be heavy. Breathing. We'll take one more round of breath. And then on your next exhale, slowly rise up. And then we're going to come back to a cross-legged seat. And we're going to take an easy twist. So inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Allow the right hand to plant behind the right glute. And then the left hand comes over to the left, to the right knee. Sit up tall through the spine and then exhale, twist to the right. Really draw the navel into the spine here. See if you can see if that will help you get a little bit deeper into this twist, using the strength and power of your core to pull you in. On your next exhale, come back to center. Reach the hands to the sky again. Allow the left hand to fall behind the left glute, right hand to right thigh. Grow tall in the spine, root down in your sit bones, and then exhale, twist open to the left. Find that connection, the navel drawing into the spine, really activating your core here. And then on your next exhale, coming back to center. We're gonna roll forward onto our hands. And we're actually all just gonna meet in a child's pose. So sinking back onto the hips. Allow the arms to come out in front of you, extending out long, and the forehead reaching down toward the earth, maybe resting on the mat. Pause. So just a reminder that this is our, I call this our wisdom pose. So if at any time during practice you find yourself out of breath or feeling like you just need a break, only you can decide when that right time is. And that's why we call it why I call it the wisdom pose. Or if something else comes up for you during practice and you would like to pause and reflect, this is a place to go for that too. I'm just going to give you another round of breath here before we start to get moving. Go ahead and tuck your toes, press into your hands, lift your hips up and back, coming into our first downward facing dog. And you know what? Go ahead and grab your yoga blocks now and probably put them, I don't know, toward the top-ish, maybe midway down your mat. Out to the side. I'll be using those in just a moment. And if you don't have the blocks, that's okay. We'll have another modification for you too. And from down dog, since this is our first down dog, if you have a little down dog ritual that you like to take for your first down dog, you're invited to do that here, maybe pedaling out the feet, bending and shifting into each knee, each leg. Maybe some hip wiggles, shifting from left to right, maybe hinging forward to plank and back into your down dog. Give you one more round of breath to get into this. And then find pause, and let's just check in with our alignment for this pose. So hands are about shoulder distance apart, and the index finger, your pointer finger, is pointing toward the top of the mat. You're pressing into all 10 fingers and lifting out of the armpits, sliding the shoulders down the back and wrapping the triceps under the arms. Navel is drawing into the spine, hips are reaching to the sky, and then your feet are about a fist and a half apart, about hips distance apart, finding a slight bend in the knees, and heels are reaching down toward the earth. Spine is long, reaching out through the crown of the head, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, gaze forward, and on your exhale, you're gonna walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat, meeting in a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, spine is long and flat, palms to shins. Exhale, coming back down to forward fold, belly to thighs, knees are bent. And then we're gonna slowly rise up, coming into mountain pose. Hands come down to the side, come down to your sides. And then notice the distribution of weight in your feet here. So maybe start to shift from side to side, shift forward and back. And then find some stillness, trying to find an equal balance of weight between all three corners of your feet, each of the feet. So the heel point, the big toe mound, and the pinky toe mound, there should be an even distribution of weight in your feet there. And then now that we've got you balanced, start to shift the weight over into your right foot, and then get light on the left, and we're gonna draw the left knee in line with the hip. Very good. I'm gonna take an inhale. So you're welcome to stay here and work with your balance here, or extend the left heel out long in front of you. Yeah. Beautiful. On your next exhale, rebend that left knee, plant the left foot down to meet the right, and then let's switch sides. So shifting the weight over into the left foot, draw the right knee up toward the right hip, in line with your right hip. Pause. And then on your exhale, if you'd like to take that variation, releasing the right heel out in front of you. On your next exhale, go ahead and release the right foot down to meet the left. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky with a slight bend in the knees, hinge forward at the hips. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And we're gonna sink our hips all the way down, coming onto our backs. Draw the knees in toward the chest, and then take your hands and you're gonna hold on to the space behind the knees here. And we're gonna do some little V-ups. So first let's roll out the low back. So shifting a little from side to side. And then maybe start to find a little rock forward and back. Maybe build up that momentum and then hold when you get up to the top, allowing the heels to hover off of the earth. Spine is long and straight. And then see if you can extend the legs out in front of you. If you want to keep the knees bent, that's perfectly fine. That's a great modification. And you can also hold this pose and plant your hands behind your glutes. So be a supported boat pose. Rock back, come back up, feet extend out. And let's do that 3 more times. Rock up, extend out, rock up, extend out. Oh, these look good. You guys are great. Beautiful. All right. And then coming back, come into a seat, cross your legs, roll over your knees, plant your hands. We're going to step back, meeting in plank pose. Option to release the knees to the earth, or you can keep the legs lifted. You're going to inhale, shift forward, and on your exhale, you're going to lower halfway and hold. So this is where it may be helpful to release the knees. We're going to hold this for 3 more rounds of breath. We have a fun arm balance planned for later as our peak pose today. And we really want to tap into the strength of our shoulders, our back, and our core. Take another inhale, and then exhale, slowly release all the way down to the earth. Untuck the toes, allow the tops of the feet to press into the mat. Inhale, reach the heart forward, cobra pose. And then exhale, pushing up through a plank, hips shift up and back, downward facing dog. Take an inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk, step, or jump to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, roll the spine up 1 vertebrae at a time, meeting in mountain pose. So let's go ahead and grab that block if you have that block. And if not, that's perfectly fine. You're just going to continue to do what we just did. But if you do have your block, it's kind of a fun little experiment. So begin to shift weight into that right foot. And you're going to take your block and you're going to plug it into this hip crease here. Okay. And then you're going to shift the weight over into your right foot, and you're going to use this kind of compression between your thigh and your belly to hold the block. So you might feel a little cramping in your hip flexor, which is good. Send your breath there. So option to stay here, or extend that left heel out long in front of you. Oh my gosh, my quad. Take an inhale. Exhale, rebend that knee, grab your block, allow the left knee down to come down to meet the right, and then switch sides. So begin to shift weight into the left foot, plug that block into the hip, that right hip, find contact between that compression between the right thigh and the belly. Take an inhale. And if you'd like to challenge your balance and challenge that right quad, extending the right heel out long in front of you. Oh, you guys are awesome. I love it. On your next exhale, rebend into that knee. Take that block, set it down to the side. Inhale, reach the hands to the sky. Exhale, finding a slight bend in the knees, folding forward at the hips. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Coming onto all the way onto our backs again. We're going to add a little variation to our V-ups here. So you can either take the same option, hands behind the back, feet up, hands behind the thighs, legs straight out, or legs straight out, and then bring them out wide. Woo, trying to balance, keeping the legs out wide, spine is long and tall. Okay, so we'll do some of those roll-ups. So coming back, rolling up, legs out wide. Rolling back, coming up, Legs out wide. Yeah. Oh, I love it. We'll do 2 more. Really draw the navel into the spine here. So tapping into the core. And we're really using the strength of our hip flexors here. Last one. I think I made us do 3, but that's okay. Draw the knees into the chest. Cross your ankles. Roll over onto your hands. Step back, meeting in plank pose. Option again to come down onto the knees or keep the legs lifted. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway for chaturanga. So really trying to find that 90-degree bend in the arms. We're reaching the heart forward. We're not sinking or dumping down. We're really lifting out strong. One more round of breath. Take an inhale. On your next exhale, slowly release down to the earth. Untuck the toes, allow the tops of the feet to press into the earth. Inhale, reach the heart forward, cobra pose. Exhale, push up and back, downward facing dog. Let's take a cleansing breath together. Release any air that's currently in your lungs, and then fill them up. Big inhale in, open mouth exhale. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky, and the knee, open the hip, and see if you, and pause, and redistribute any weight that might have been shifted over into your left shoulder, so we have an even balance between the left and the right arm. And then circle the knee around the hip. Just getting into the hip a little bit here. How's the breath? Inhale, reach the right heel back. Exhale, step the right foot all the way through, planting between your hands. Release the left foot down, or left knee onto the earth, coming into this low lunge. So this is also a nice option if you do have blocks. You can stay here, planting your hands framed around your right foot, and then sinking into the hips, getting into that left hip flexor. If you would like a little bit of lift, if this feels like a lot of compression, or maybe you feel you can get deeper into that hip flexor, coming onto the blocks, and then sinking into that hip. Breathe. And on your next exhale, shift the hips back, coming into half splits, Hanumanasana, half monkey pose. Flex the foot, draw the feet, the toes toward your nose. And then if you do have these blocks, this is again where it's going to come in a little bit helpful. If you don't, that's quite all right. You can still keep your hands planted on the earth, finding a bend in the knee if you need to, or you can even come up onto fists to get a little bit more leverage. If you do have those blocks, pressing into the blocks, lifting your chest and heart forward, drawing your right hip in line with the left, keeping that right foot flexed and strong and active. Start to draw the core in so that navel draws in toward the spine. Take an inhale, and if you'd like a little challenge, lifting the right heel off of the mat. Letting this hover here. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. On your next exhale, plant the right heel back down onto the earth. Rebend into that right knee. Tuck the toes of the left foot and start to get lighter on that left knee, and then start to firm up into your right foot. Inhale, rising all the way up, crescent pose. Back leg is strong and active. Left thigh is reaching up toward the sky. We're plugging both of the femur bones from our legs into the hip socket. So there's kind of this spiraling effect, allowing both hip points to be pointed toward the top of the mat. Shoulders are stacked over hips. And let's bring hands to heart center here. Sink a little deeper into that right knee. Take an inhale. And then exhale, we're going to open up warrior two. So back foot spins flat, knife edge of the foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. Toes are pointing toward the left side of the mat, and the right foot is still in the same position. Torso is facing toward the left side of the mat, shoulders stacked over hips. Hands come out to the side like a T. I really want to draw your attention to your right knee. So see if you can create an energetic pull with the strength of the inside of your leg. And you're going to pull the knee toward the outside of your right foot with the strength of that leg. Really feel that activation there. How's the breath? If you need more, you can sink a little deeper. If you need less, lifting out a little bit. On your next exhale, straighten out the right leg. Turn the right toes toward the top left corner of the mat, and then your left toes toward the back left corner of the mat. Hands come to heart center. Take an inhale, and then exhale, coming into goddess pose. Sinking into those hips. If you need more, sinking deeper. If you need less, coming out a little bit more. Straightening the legs a little more. The spine is long and active here. Tuck the chin in toward the chest. So the spine is long and you're reaching out through the crown of the head here. And then just like I was cueing in that crescent and warrior two, imagine these knees are being pressed toward the outside edges of your foot. They're reaching toward the outside of that pinky toe. Really see if you can find that activation here. Yeah. Stay connected with your breath. If you can, sink a little deeper. I love it. On your next exhale, slowly start to rise up, straightening your legs. And then we're going to heel toe the feet, step the feet in so that there's about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet distance. And then if you have your block, I'd like you to grab both of them right now. And you're going to place them in arm's reach here. So coming back to this wide-legged mountain pose, take an inhale, and then exhale. We're just going to sink all the way down, and we're going to come into Malasana, yogi squat. So allowing the feet to point out, pressing the elbows into the knees, and then grow tall in the spine. So this is where it might be helpful if it feels like a lot on the low back or in your hips to have that block. And you can actually sit and rest your bum on that block. And then I'm going to actually cue this. So if you guys want to continue to hold this, if you want to come to a seat really quick, I'm just going to demonstrate this really quick. But we're going to take these blocks if you have them. And if not, you can actually do the same exercise just absent the blocks. You're going to take them and you're going to put them behind your heels. And you're going to wrap your shoulders underneath your knees here, pressing the hands into the blocks. And we're just going to find some shifts forward and back, creating this little shelf with our arms, just like we were doing in our chaturanga, making this 90-degree bend in the arms. So just finding a little rock forward and back. And that's all we're going to do for now. And if you're an experienced practitioner and you know where we're going, and if you would like to take Firefly pose, Tittipasana, you are invited to do so, but we will be breaking it down in just a minute anyway. Okay, pausing your rocks, coming back to Malasana, yogi squat. Take an inhale, and then exhale, plant the hands, step all the way back, high plank pose. And let's take a vinyasa. So inhale, shifting forward. Again, option to release the knees to the earth, lowering halfway, chaturanga, releasing all the way down to the earth. Release the tops of the feet, press into the mat. Inhale, reach the heart forward, cobra pose. And then exhale, shifting up and back, downward facing dog.
Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip. Finding balance again, redistributing that weight between the left and right arm. And then rotating the left knee around the hip socket. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot all the way through, planting the foot between the hands, releasing the right knee to the earth. Option to stay here in this low lunge variation. If you'd like to use your blocks to set, to come up, sinking into that hip, drawing the left hip back. So hip points are in line and pointing toward the top of the mat. Breathe. On your next exhale, start to shift the hips back. And then flex the foot, point the toes toward the face, reaching toward your nose, drawing that left hip back again, making sure that both hip points are in line, parallel to the top of the mat. Using your blocks if you would like. And if you want to challenge that core and that balance, draw the navel into the spine. So already activating here. And then lift that left heel off of the earth. All right. We have some powerhouses in here tonight. I love it. You're all powerhouses. Exhale, release that left heel to the earth. Rebend into the left knee. Tuck the right toes. Get lighter on that right knee. Press firmly into the left foot. And then rise up, ball of the back foot. Inhale, crescent pose. Hands come to heart center. Checking in with our alignment. Both femur bones, our thigh bones are plugging into the hip socket. So creating this spiraling energy. Both hip points are in line, pointing toward the top of the mat. Right thigh lifted toward the sky. Shoulders stacked over hips. Sink a little deeper into that left knee. Yeah, breathe. How's the breath? On your next exhale, spin all the way open, warrior two, coming onto the knife edge of the right foot, toes pointed toward the right side of the mat, shoulders stacked over hips, arms come out to the side like a T. Sink a little deeper into that left knee. And then see again if you can find that effort, that energy. Like if I had a string wrapped around your knee and I was able to pull it behind you, that's the energy, that's the effort that you're trying to make, moving that left knee on the outside edge. Keep breathing. Turn around and face you guys. Your next exhale, slowly begin to straighten the left leg. Turn the toes towards the back right corner of the mat and your right toes toward the top right corner of the mat. Hands come to heart center. Exhale, sink down, goddess pose. Yeah. Tall in the spine. Draw the chin in toward the chest. Reach out through the crown of the head. We're tall, proud, powerful, badass goddesses. Yeah. Thinking a little bit deeper. We're coming out if you need less. Honoring your body. Really finding that outward movement with the knees, really pressing the knees on the outside toward the outside edge of the foot. Take another inhale. And then on your exhale, slowly, like you don't want to come out, slowly, slowly rise up. And then walking the feet in again, bringing those blocks nearby. Hands come to heart center. And then exhale, coming into your yogi squat. So again, using the block to support you. Hands come to heart center, pressing into the knees. Mm. And if you'd like to play around with that rocking again, so just taking those blocks, placing them behind you. Turn around so you guys can see me a little bit better. Fingertips are pointing toward the front of the mat or toward your heels, I guess. And then you're coming onto, again, you're kind of creating this shelf with your elbows. So like your hips, your bum are coming down onto this shelf on your arms. And then maybe lifting one foot in at a time and holding here. Draw the navel into the spine. Or just playing with those hip rocks. Exhale, release everything down. Come back to your yogi squat. Plant the hands, step back, high plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, lower halfway, chaturanga. And then taking your back bend of choice, cobra. Or if you'd like to take an upward facing dog. Pushing up through a strong plank, meeting in downward facing dog. Let's take a cleansing breath together. Releasing any air that's currently in the lungs. Inhale, fill up the lungs. Open mouth, exhale, let it all go. Beautiful. All right, we have a tiny bit of work left before I lead you to our cool down. Inhale, reach the right heel to the sky. Exhale, step all the way through, coming all the way up, crescent pose. Straighten the right leg. Hands come to heart center. And we're taking this wide leg pyramid pose. So just making sure that both hip points are facing toward the top of the mat. With a tall spine, begin to shift forward, drawing the navel in toward the spine. So this is an active pyramid, active wide leg pyramid pose. Staying here. And then exhale, round the spine, let everything go. If you have your blocks nearby, you can rest your hands on blocks. You can keep a slight bend in the knee here, or even a deep bend, whatever feels good. Or even hands down to the earth, or hands on the shins even is a nice variation. Breathe. Inhale, come all the way up, bend into that right knee, all the way back up, crescent pose. Take an inhale. And then exhale, bend into the left knee, and we're gonna step all the way up, coming into chair pose at the top of the mat. First chair pose. I promise there's only one more. Checking in with our alignment, making sure that the knees are behind the toes, so protecting our knee joints here. The navel is drawn into the spine. Spine is long, reaching out through the crown of the head. Arms reaching up through the sky. Shoulders are sliding down the back. Sink a little deeper into those hips. Hands come to heart center. Take an inhale. Exhale, sink your hips all the way down. And then step them out a little bit wider, coming into your yogi squat. And then this is where I'm going to give you just another opportunity to play with that firefly pose. So taking any variation here. So maybe that's just staying in Malasana. Maybe that's your supported Malasana. Maybe that's the blocks behind you, rocking back and forth, or even finding your toe-to-toe connection, or maybe extending one foot out to the right and then the other for firefly. I'm gonna just come and check on you guys really quick. Oh, I love it. I love you guys so much. You guys are doing amazing. Okay. Go ahead and release where you're working. Plant those hands, step back. Option to take a vinyasa or meet in downward facing dog. We have one last side. And I'm taking you through a nice juicy cool down. Inhale, reach the left heel to the sky. Exhale, step the left foot all the way through. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. One breath here. On your exhale, straighten that left leg. Plant that right foot down onto the earth. Shifting those hip points toward the top of the mat. Grow tall in the spine, hands come to heart center. And then exhale, shifting forward, keeping a long spine here. In this wide leg, active pyramid pose. On your next exhale, option to release, rolling the spine, planting the hands, letting the hands rest on blocks, rest on the earth, or even resting on your thighs or your shin. Start to bend into that left knee. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Hands come to heart center. Start to bend that back right knee. And then we're going to step all the way up, chair pose. Last chair for the night. Sinking those hips a little bit deeper if you can. Tall in the spine. These are strong chairs. If I were to come in and violate this virtual space in each of your homes, you're so firmly rooted in your feet and in your chairs that I couldn't possibly knock you over. That's how strong you are here. Take another inhale. And then exhale, sinking those hips down, coming into your yogi squat. Taking time to play once again if you would like to play. If you're happy doing your squat, or maybe you're just tired, you're done working, and you just need a child's pose. This is the very last bit of work that we have in class. Finish up wherever you're at. And go ahead and plant those hands. Step back, high plank pose. This is your last vinyasa, so option to push out a few more chaturanga push-ups. If you didn't get enough of those, Kristen, I know she'll take me up on that challenge. She would sit here and do push-ups with me all night, and I would stop, but she would still keep going. She's a badass. Meeting in down dog. Release the knees to the earth. Slide all the way forward. Come onto the belly. Stack the palms. Rest the forehead on top of the palms. Let it go. Let's bend the knees here and tick-tock the knees back side to side. Tick-tock the feet side to side. Allow the feet to come back down to the earth. And then we're gonna plant our elbows beneath shoulders, lifting up, planting the hands out in front of us, coming up into Sphinx pose, reaching the heart forward. Press the tops of the feet into the earth. Really reach that heart forward. Exhale, release it back down to the earth. We're just going to roll onto our backs from here. Bend the knees, plant the feet on the earth about a foot or two in front of the glutes. And then you're going to cross your right thigh over left thigh. So sitting quote unquote ladylike. If you would like to wrap the right foot behind the left calf, you can. We're going to go into a twist. So this may or may not be uncomfortable. So maybe play around with it a little bit. Reach your arms out to the side like a T. Draw the knees into the chest. And then on your exhale, allow everything to fall over to the right. Plant that right shoulder down onto the earth. Try not to lift it off. And if that means coming out of the twist a little bit more, maybe unhooking that foot, maybe even unhooking the leg altogether and just making this an easy twist.
We're quickly approaching our resting pose. So I invite you to start to draw in some gratitude for your practice tonight. You all worked so hard conditioning the body, and maybe more importantly, conditioning the mind. On your next inhale, bring everything back to center, uncross the legs, replant the feet. Just pause here for a moment. And then recross on the other side. So left thigh over right, maybe taking that wrap, the left foot behind right calf. Draw the knees in toward the chest, take an inhale, and then exhale, allow everything to drop over to the right. Keeping that left shoulder planted. Adjusting your crossing of the foot, the thigh, the ankle, whatever you need. And this final movement. Staying connected to the breath for just another couple moments. We all worked so hard tonight. And then on your next inhale, draw the knees back in towards center. And then any final shifts or wiggles, but we're all meeting in Shavasana. So you do have your blocks, your hips are pretty open if you would like to take a bound angle variation. If you would like to not do that because of all of the opening that we've already done, you're welcome to keep the legs down long. Or just find any comfortable Shavasana variation. Maybe that's coming onto your side. Maybe that's even using the blocks and placing them under your knees. It's my personal favorite. Provides great relief on the low back. And let's just take one cleansing breath together. We're gonna do a hold at the top, and then I'll release you to enjoy your Shavasana. So releasing any air that's currently in the lungs. Take a deep breath in, hold it at the top. Take one more sip. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Shavasana.
If you've drifted off, maybe start to come back. Invite some gentle movements back into the body, maybe wiggling fingers and toes. Maybe finding just some deeper breaths, a sigh. The beauty of a home practice and doing this via Zoom is you can take an extra long Shavasana if you would like. However, if you would like to join me in a seat, please find your way onto your side. And whenever you're ready, push yourself up to a seat. I love all your beautiful pink yoga faces. If you would like to close your practice with your hands at heart center. So I witnessed each of you tonight just practicing with such strength. And I think there's something really brave and courageous about letting someone guide your practice, because you don't know what you're going to be stepping into, right? When you join me, you have no idea what kind of crazy or fun or wacky shit I'm going to throw your way. So I think that there's some courage involved there. And I'd like to invite each of you to use that same strength and courage to light yourself up in your lives and use that fire to share your magic with the world. Because it's such an honor for me to see it, and it truly inspires me. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Susan, Patty, Tiffany, Desiree, Dawn, Kristen. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste. You guys are, hold on a second.